Did you know that by 2050, climate change could displace up to 1 billion people worldwide? This isn't just about polar bears or melting ice caps. It's about your future, your children's future. The Global Climate Summit is where world leaders gather to set ambitious targets and make real commitments to tackle this crisis head-on. At the recent summit in New York, nearly 40 heads of state pledged new climate actions ahead of COP30 inches Brazil. But are these promises enough? Will they translate into tangible progress on the ground? In the next few minutes, we'll dive deep into what really happens at these summits and whether they can deliver the change we desperately need. COP26, held in Glasgow, marked a significant moment in global climate action. Over 120 world leaders and more than 40,000 participants convened to discuss critical issues like reducing emissions and funding for vulnerable nations. The summit saw commitments to phase out coal and end deforestation by 2030. But it also highlighted the gap between these pledges and actual progress needed to meet the Paris Agreement goals. Consider how COP26 set ambitious targets, yet the world still falls short of what's required to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The momentum continues with upcoming summits like COP30 inches Belém, Brazil, where countries aim to finalize or implement their new climate targets. This ongoing process underscores the need for sustained and more aggressive action from all nations. As we delve deeper into these commitments, it's crucial to examine how they translate into real-world changes. The Climate Summit 2025 marked a significant step forward in global climate action. Close to 100 countries, including nearly 40 heads of state and government, gathered at the United Nations headquarters in New York to announce their new climate commitments. This event was convened by UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres as part of the ongoing push towards COP30 inches Belém, Brazil this November. These leaders are setting ambitious targets that aim to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Consider how this summit builds on previous efforts like COP26 inches Glasgow, where over 40,000 participants work towards a common goal. The momentum is growing, and each commitment brings us closer to the climate progress we desperately need. As we move forward, these new commitments will be crucial for tracking global progress and ensuring that countries stay on track with their pledges. At the Global Climate Summit, leaders are setting ambitious goals to combat climate change. However, achieving these targets hinges on overcoming significant technological challenges. Consider this: transitioning to renewable energy sources like wind and solar requires advanced storage solutions that can handle fluctuating power outputs. Innovations in battery technology and grid management systems are critical but still lag behind the pace needed for full implementation. Take electric vehicles as another example. While they are becoming more popular, the infrastructure for widespread adoption, such as charging stations and sustainable manufacturing processes, is not yet fully developed. These technological limitations highlight the urgent need for accelerated innovation and investment in green technologies. As we look ahead to COP30 inches Belém, Brazil, it's clear that addressing these challenges will be key to meeting our climate goals. At the Climate Summit 2025, leaders from nearly 100 countries gathered to discuss ambitious climate goals. A key focus was the economic feasibility of these policies. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres emphasized that while transitioning to a green economy might seem costly upfront, it's essential for long-term stability and growth. Consider this: at COP26 inches Glasgow, over 40,000 participants discussed how sustainable investments can create millions of new jobs globally. In fact, studies show that every dollar invested in renewable energy generates up to 3 times more jobs than the same investment in fossil fuels. Looking ahead, these economic benefits will be pivotal as countries prepare for COP30 inches Belém, Brazil this November. The transition isn't just about saving the planet. It's also about building a resilient and prosperous future economy. Political cooperation is crucial for achieving our climate goals. At the UN Climate Summit 2025, nearly 100 countries came together to announce their commitments or plans for new climate targets ahead of COP30 inches Belém, Brazil this November. This level of collaboration shows how leaders are working towards a common goal. Take COP26 inches Glasgow as an example. It brought together 120 world leaders and over 40,000 participants to discuss the urgent need for action on climate change. The success of these summits hinges on countries working hand in hand to implement ambitious policies. Moving forward, we'll explore how specific commitments translate into real-world changes. International organizations play a crucial role in environmental governance. At the Climate Summit 2025, held at the United Nations headquarters in New York, close to 100 countries, including nearly 40 heads of state and government, made significant commitments towards climate action. This summit was just one of many important gatherings, like COP26 inches Glasgow, where over 40,000 participants came together to address global environmental challenges. These organizations provide a platform for leaders to share their plans and accelerate progress toward ambitious climate goals. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has been instrumental in convening these summits to ensure that countries are on track to meet the targets set out in international agreements like the Paris Accord. By fostering collaboration, setting standards, and monitoring progress, international organizations help drive global action against climate change. As we look ahead to COP30 inches Belém, Brazil, this momentum towards more ambitious climate action continues to build. Virtual climate summits have become a crucial tool for accelerating global action on climate change. Take the Virtual Climate Ambitions Summit held in April, where leaders from across Asia, Africa, the Americas, Europe, and Oceania gathered virtually to call for more ambitious climate actions. This virtual platform allowed over 40,000 participants, including heads of state, to engage in meaningful discussions about pressing environmental issues without the logistical hurdles of a physical meeting. The impact is clear. These summits can mobilize large numbers efficiently and sustainably. For instance, at the Climate Summit 2025, nearly 100 countries committed to updating their climate targets ahead of COP30. This momentum shows that virtual gatherings are not just symbolic, but can drive concrete commitments. As we move forward, it's clear these virtual platforms will continue to play a vital role in shaping our collective response to climate change. At COP30, Brazil has made some significant commitments to combat climate change. The country pledged to achieve net zero emissions by 2050 and has set an ambitious target of restoring 12 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. This is a crucial step towards preserving the Amazon rainforest, which plays a vital role in regulating global climate patterns. Brazil's commitments also include increasing renewable energy sources to over 45% of its total energy mix by 2028. These efforts are part of a broader push from nearly 100 countries to finalize or implement new climate targets ahead of COP30, as highlighted at the Climate Summit convened by UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. These pledges not only signal Brazil's commitment, but also set an example for other nations to follow. As we move forward, it will be critical to see how these commitments translate into concrete actions and measurable outcomes. Implementing climate targets is no small feat. Take COP26 inches Glasgow, where 120 world leaders came together, but even then, turning commitments into action on the ground remains a significant challenge. Countries face hurdles like lack of funding, technological gaps, and political will. Consider India, which pledged to achieve net zero emissions by 2070 at the Climate Summit 2025. But with its vast population and growing energy needs, scaling up renewable projects is daunting. Similarly, developed nations often struggle to meet their financial commitments to support developing countries in their climate efforts. These challenges highlight the need for robust international cooperation and innovative solutions. As we move forward, addressing these obstacles will be crucial to achieving our global climate goals. At the Climate Summit 2025, emerging technologies like carbon capture and storage took center stage. Countries are increasingly looking to these innovations as crucial tools in their climate mitigation strategies. For instance, Norway's full-scale carbon capture facility at Norsum Heidelberg Cement has been capturing up to 400,000 tons of CO2 annually since its launch, demonstrating the potential for significant reductions in industrial emissions. Leaders like those from Brazil and India are also exploring these technologies ahead of COP30. Picture this: a world where power plants can capture their emissions and store them underground, effectively neutralizing their carbon footprint. This kind of technology could be game-changing as we strive to meet our global climate goals. As the summit continues, it's clear that emerging tech will play an integral role in shaping our approach to combating climate change. Public engagement is a powerful catalyst for driving climate action. At COP26 inches Glasgow, over 40,000 participants came together to push leaders towards more ambitious commitments. This kind of public pressure can lead to real change. Consider how, at the Climate Summit 2025, nearly 100 countries announced or committed to finalizing their new climate targets ahead of COP30 inches Belém, Brazil, this November. Public engagement doesn't just happen at large summits. It's also seen in local communities and online movements. When citizens demand action, leaders listen. As we move forward, the momentum from these global gatherings can inspire even greater public involvement, leading to more ambitious climate goals worldwide. The future of climate summits holds immense potential to drive global action. At the Climate Summit 2025, nearly 100 countries, including almost 40 heads of state and government, announced their commitments to finalize or implement new climate targets ahead of COP30 inches Belém, Brazil, this November. This level of commitment builds on the momentum from COP26, where over 40,000 participants, including 120 world leaders, gathered in Glasgow. Looking ahead, these summits will continue to be critical platforms for setting ambitious climate goals and fostering international cooperation. The virtual pre-COP30 summit further emphasized the need for more ambitious action from global leaders across Asia, Africa, the Americas, Europe, and Oceania. As we move forward, it's clear that each summit plays a vital role in shaping our collective response to the climate crisis. The Climate Summit 2025 marked a significant milestone, bringing together nearly 100 countries to commit to ambitious climate goals. At this summit, close to 40 heads of state and government announced their plans to finalize or implement new climate targets ahead of COP30 inches Belém, Brazil. This continued momentum from COP26, where over 120 world leaders gathered in Glasgow, underscores the global commitment to tackling climate change. To achieve meaningful progress, it's crucial that this momentum doesn't falter. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has emphasized the importance of these commitments, highlighting that without concrete actions, we won't meet our climate targets. As we move forward, every country must stay focused on delivering on their promises to ensure a sustainable future for all. In closing, let's remember that our collective efforts today will shape the world tomorrow.